Hey, what's up, Facebook? I am back in the office. Today is Friday, January 24th, 2020, and landed from Houston this morning about 11 o'clock. I left about 7 a.m. Was there about 2 weeks, and I'm grateful to be back in the office, back home, and yeah, just gearing up for the workshop tonight, the Stop Dreaming, Start Creating workshop, and I figured I'd make it my vlog while I have some time. So. Actually, before we get started, if you're watching this video on YouTube, let's edit some footage from my Houston trip in right now. But if you're watching...
No easy! No easy!
Just made us this Daniel Fast feast. Look at all this deliciousness. Quinoa, black beans, asparagus, sweet potato chips, kind of, peppers, broccoli, brown rice.
And rice.
Look at you. You treat me too good.
No, even.
Thank you.
I'm a mess right now, really.
Loving like Jesus isn't, hey, they love me like this, so I'm going to love them with that equal portion, if that makes sense. Loving like Jesus is to make sacrifices. Now, how many times can we lay down?
Fry up these delicious black bean burgers in coconut oil. Here we go. Daniel Fast feast made for a king. Look at that. Got a little fruit cup for dessert, some asparagus and sweet potato fries. Y'all ready to pray?
Yes.
Ready?
All right, today is Monday, January 20th, Martin Luther King Day, and I'm down here in Houston, Texas, and we are volunteering, City Fam that is, at Abba House, that place right there. So Abba House is a place that does some really amazing stuff with refugees, primarily from the Sudan, war-torn areas. And we have about a dozen, maybe 15 volunteers out here today. We are planting shrubs, staining a goat pen, and really just kind of helping them out. So let me show you what I'm looking at. Are y'all debating about how to roll properly?
Yes.
Okay. Got some little guys, kid-friendly event, so beautiful day down here in Texas, probably about 50 degrees. Okay, today we planted all these shrubs. You can see all the way down. We stained this fence all the way around. You can see how far down it goes. All the way down on both sides. And then we secured the fence here. You can see these nails right here. We secured this all the way down the fence from here, all the way down to about there. And then we took dirt and we filled it in over here where there were some gaps underneath the fence to make sure the goats couldn't get out and no other animals could get in. And now we are off to the after party.
A lot of different rules and ways you can do it. One is ultimate Gaga Ball, where you keep track of when somebody gets out. If they're the one that got you out, you can go back in.
We know Joy is not the competitor. Yes, I am.
All right, here's the City Fam crew enjoying a good game of Gaga Ball here at Abba's house.
I think you can do that. You slapped it in my hand and it hit your foot. Oh, am I out or you out? You were out. Right, I'm out. But you slapped it, hit my hand, and I hit you.
Thank you for letting us come out, and we'll keep in contact. So even though we just have a once a month service thing, we also post like, hey, I'm gonna go do this right now.
Yeah.
So as we stay connected,
Okay.
and you have
Memorial Day to Labor Day.
You know, once it starts, City Fam starts it, it can never come out.
But a nonprofit can always pay a fair wage. for
Yeah, we could sell it to a
people that
nonprofit or something. Not that we would, I don't think, but
Right, because it's too integral to what you're doing, trying to accomplish, right?
Well, and then one of the things that he even talked about, just so you understand, like we would basically provide the shell, we provide the building and the atmosphere, but then we hire a vendor to
We don't hire them, we bring in purveyors. Our goal is in the food. We're not in the food business, we're in the change life. Oh, somebody's coming out.
It's really beautiful.
Wow, it is.
And every book in there is like Bible books, commentaries.
So I'm in a private library right now, so I have to whisper. But Nicole and I just we're wrapping up a long day of strategizing where we met with her father and then came here to work, where we kind of discussed our 2-year plans for City Fam, where we want the organization to be, how many chapters we want to have across the world. We talked about Fam Live, how many shows we want to be promoting, New Year's Eve events in cities where City Fam has chapters, and then also, of course, home, when we want to be open by in Baltimore, and what needs to happen in order for that to be possible. So it was great. It was a very productive day, and now I'm here at this really cool library that are filled with Christian books, only Christian books. It's really kind of amazing. I'll flip the camera around here in a second and show you what I'm looking at. Here's just one of the racks, and you can see 20th century encyclopedia of religious knowledge, Israel, God's Key to World Redemption, the Jewish-Christian argument, from Moses to literally all of these books are written by, theologists from probably all across the world for hundreds of years. You can't imagine the wisdom that is in these books. There's even like artifacts here. What's really amazing, they have a real, genuine fragment from the Dead Sea Scrolls underneath this cloth here. You can see it. It's not a replica. That is a real fragment from the Dead Sea. Okay, today is Thursday morning, my last day in Houston. I leave tomorrow morning and go back to Baltimore, and we have a full schedule. We are meeting with Kevin McGowan. He actually runs an organization down here called Regeneration, and we're going to be talking to him about the ambassador program in Houston, which we kicked off in Baltimore at Last Renegade, and then we are going to look at hotels for H-Town Countdown, our New Year's Eve party down here. I'm really excited, so I'll try to capture some. Tonight, Nicole and I are going on the Houston I'm Just Saying podcast to talk about everything that's going on down here with City Fam, so full schedule. Okay, we're here at the Four Seasons. This is the 3rd hotel we looked at today so far. We're in downtown Houston, scouting out venues for New Year's Eve 2021. Okay, this is the 5th hotel we looked at so far, and it's called Rice. It's probably about 100 years old. Great part of town, though.
Here, you can put a DJ or you can get speaker system. Out here? Wow.
This hotel is called Alessandra, and it is number 6. I like it. Great meeting space, great view up here on the 21st floor.
What is the most out of character thing that you've done for love or for sex?
Jesus.
I know.
Let's get it popping.
I came up with this all on my own.
Yeah,
I didn't
wagon train hundreds of years ago. They were traveling across the country, right? There was a line of wagons. They didn't do it alone. They weren't trying to cross the country alone because I'm sure there was probably lots of reasons. It was probably dangerous, Indian snakes might get you, whatever. If you went with other people, it was a lot safer, a lot more likely that you make it to the other side. So the way we look at it at City Fam is, we are all on a journey of becoming a better version of ourselves. I don't want to go it alone because it sucks. I tried it, and I just isolated, and I went to a lot of movies, and I thought, well, maybe, if I meet Mrs. Right, I won't feel this way anymore, and I can't control when that happens. I'm not going to settle. I won't settle. I have to fall in love. I'm not going to just be with somebody because I'm lonely. I've done that before. It's not a good long-term strategy. So how am I going to make it this journey of becoming this better version of myself, of achieving these goals, these things that I want most? It's going to keep going. So yeah, I was in Texas for 2 weeks. I spent the first few days in Galveston. I had a friend, Nicole, actually Richard, our executive director. Her father has a bay house in Galveston, right on the water, a beautiful spot, and they let me use it for a few days. So I went down there by myself and had a couple days just to kind of relax, recharge, sleep in, just veg mostly. I did a little reading, I prayed, kind of got quiet and just filled, recharged the batteries, I guess, for lack of a better term. So it was great. And came back to Houston, and I spent about 10 days in Houston, where I just, met with the new people, some people that I haven't met with that are part of the City Fam group, met with the leaders, worked on things, really got a really good plan for the next 2 years with Nicole and her father, who's a very successful businessman down there. And we talked about City Fam, where we want to be in 2 years from now, talked about the book and the tour, how many, cities we'd like to visit over that time. We talked about Fam Live, the entertainment division that I started recently with shows and New Year's Eve events. And then we also talked about home, and kind of got a plan for some things that we need to be thinking about now if we hope to open by possibly the end of this year or even next year. So it was good. But it was a lot, I was actually your way, which is a challenge, because when it's not happening, you get tempted to take the wheel and start controlling things yourself. But I've let him steer for long enough now that I'm really seeing, his plan is a lot better than my plan. So anyway, it was cool. I was, just more excited even than I have been about the future and all the things that are happening. So anyway, I want to talk a little bit about them now. So one of the things that we did down in Houston while I was there is yesterday we spent my last day there looking at hotels, because we're going to do our first ever non-Baltimore New Year's Eve event in Houston. We're going to call it H-Town Countdown. We think we found a hotel that we like, that we're going to do it at. And so New Year's Eve 2021, more than likely I'll be spending in Houston with that group, which I'm excited about, because I've been in Baltimore, celebrating New Year's Eve for as long as I can remember. Obviously I throw a party every year, so I've had to be there. But it'll be nice to be in another city with a new group and just kind of change it up. But we're excited. It'll be a lot like the one in Baltimore. We'll have multiple rooms, multiple party zones, band, cover band, DJ, karaoke room. We'll probably do a silent disco, probably do a comedian. So it'll be very much like Charm City Countdown, but we'll be doing it down there, as well as doing Charm City Countdown. And the idea really is hopefully as City Fam starts sprouting up in all these different cities, we'll be able to do a New Year's Eve event in every one of the cities where we have a chapter, and that will be a revenue generator for that chapter. So we really like that model. I think it definitely adds, it fits City Fam, it fits who we are, because we are a social group and our members want to do fun things. But they also want to give back, and do good for the community. But our New Year's Eve events they're very adult parties, like I've talked about it before. My mom comes to my New Year's Eve event, my stepdad, my sisters, my pastor and his wife. It's people from all spectrums. So the New Year's Eve event goes really well with City Fam. So we're excited about it, and hopefully Houston will be the first of many more New Year's Eve events around the country and possibly even around the world. So the other thing we did is we did a podcast last night with Houston I'm Just Saying. So that's a local podcast in Houston. I went on it actually about a year earlier. I think it was like 10 months earlier. And we've got a chance, Nicole and I, to talk a lot about City Fam, Houston, and just City Fam overall, the why behind it. And then we talked about my book and some other things, and it was a very good interview. So if you want to, you can check them out on Facebook. I'm sure when the podcast gets when it goes live, they'll post it on their page and you'll be notified. But I did want to give a shout out to a couple people. First off, I want to shout out to Nicole, Richard. She was the most amazing hostess while I was in Houston. She just is a very incredible individual. I honestly could not have thought of someone better to do this alongside than Nicole. So, she's just a great person. If you don't know her, you should get to know her if you have an opportunity. She's just so likable. All she does is add value to people's lives, and I'm really blessed to have her in my corner. I also want to give a shout out to Paul Jenkins and Dan Martinez. Those are two guys in Houston that are really stepping up into positions of leadership down there, especially as Nicole is going to be spending more time away from Houston. These guys are stepping up and really just doing a great job of leading the group down there. So shout out to you guys. It was great hanging out with you while I was there. I also want to give a shout out to Angel Peterson in Columbus, Ohio, because Angel is killing it in Columbus. It is one of our fastest growing groups. We believe it probably will be the next official City Fam chapter. And she's really out there as a single mom, and she's building this group with, not a lot of help. I mean, we give as much help as we can from the headquarters here in Baltimore, but she's out there doing it, and she's just killing the thing. So, imagine what it's like when you have a teenage daughter that you're raising by yourself, you're working a full-time job, paying the bills, and then you're doing City Fam on the side, and it's as a volunteer, because none of these people get paid. I don't get paid. Even our executive director doesn't get paid yet, although I do want her to get paid as soon as possible. But it's a lot of work because you're living. It's a countercultural movement. You're living in a way that is very sacrificial. You're trying to put everyone else's needs around you before your own, and it's a hard thing to do and maintain, and especially when you have a lot of other responsibilities. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Angel, because I really appreciate having you on the team, and I'm grateful for what you're doing over there. I'm very impressed by you as well. So anyway, so tonight is Stop Dreaming, Start Creating. That is a workshop that we did last year at this time. We're doing it tonight here at the City Fam offices, and we're actually doing it live online for people that are all over the world. So we have people that are registered in other countries. We have people from states across the United States that will be joining us. And what it is a workshop to help you get clear about what you want most, and then give you an actionable plan to make those things a reality. So I've talked a lot about it. It's actually too late to register for it, so I really don't need to talk a whole lot more about it. But I know that there's going to be people that are coming here tonight. There's actually someone here already from Houston. Ingrid is here. She flew in for the workshop. And there's going to be people here that are going to discover dreams and passions that they didn't even know they had before, based off of the exercises that we're all going to go through. So I'm pretty excited. I'm excited for myself, because I love starting my year this way, because it helps me get really clear on what I want to accomplish in the next 12 months. And then I start putting my plan in place to make those things a reality. Arnold Schwarzenegger said something. I read his autobiography a while back, and he said, without a vision, you just kind of drift around and you never go anywhere. And I know exactly what he means, because before I started meeting with coaches and I learned these exercises, I just drifted. I kind of wanted to be a good person. I wanted to make an impact on the world, and but I didn't really have any specific goals. And even if I did have goals, I didn't really have a really tangible plan to make them happen. So that's what we're going to do for the people that are coming tonight. So I'm very excited. We've got about 25 people coming online or live. So it's going to be life-changing for some of those people. So what else is going on? Super Bowl party's coming up next weekend. We're going to be here in Baltimore celebrating or watching the Super Bowl over Roy's house. Unfortunately, it's not the Ravens, but it will still be a good time. So if you're local to Baltimore, you're part of the City Fam Baltimore Facebook group, you can find information on there about that. We have a Renegade the following weekend at Dave & Buster's, White Marsh. We're going to be doing a hoop off. I think we're going to be shooting basketballs. We'll have a little tournament there. We'll have some food and drink specials. That should be a good time. I think that's February 8th. And then the Genuine Show, which I announced last weekend, is going to be happening at the Horseshoe Casino on June 20th. Which I'm very excited about. That's my second show at the Horseshoe. I'm pumped for that, and we'll see. Hopefully we get another sellout, but I want to do a lot more shows. And really, honestly, my goal is as I'm on the road, wherever I'm speaking at, whether it's in other states or other countries, I want to establish relationships with venues, specifically casinos, and I want to do more of these shows all around the country and potentially all around the world, because I think the model that I put together would really work anywhere, and it also goes very well with CityFam because it just gives people a chance to be part of that world. You know, it gives them things to do, people to do them with. They already have a group that's safe to go out with, so now they can go to concerts and, you know, be the group that volunteers and checks people in and sees the show for free. But it also puts them in touch with people that really might need healthy community, and that I think is really cool, because, you know, so many people, so many healthy communities aren't really meeting people where they are. You know, they're not in touch with the people that need them the most. Now they're there, you know, they're available for those people when they go to them, but we don't want to be that. We want to be the kind of group that goes to people where they are and meets them where they're at. We don't want to wait for people to hit rock bottom and come to us. We want to meet them where they're at before they ever hit rock bottom and give them healthy community so that they don't have to hit rock bottom. You know what I mean? That's really what excites me the most. So if that means doing concerts and New Year's Eve events and things like that, then that is fine by me. So I'm looking for a media manager. So what I mean by that is I'm going to start a podcast probably in the next month or so, and I want to do that because I want to talk to people that are experts in their field and things related to loneliness or depression or sex or maybe celebrities even. And I want to be able to interview them and you know, put out more valuable content. And I'm looking for somebody that could be a media manager that would be able to you know, sift through the content and be able to project manage the production of videos, images, whatever, podcasts potentially. I think I may actually already have somebody for the podcast, for the production end of it, but I need somebody to basically be able to sift through it and make sure that it gets produced. It goes from being long form content to short form content. So if you know how to do that, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you don't understand what I'm saying, then you're probably not the person. But if you know somebody that is like a media manager, a content manager, or has experience in that realm, I'd love to talk to them. So send me a DM or you can email me if you like. And I'm also potentially looking for organizations that exist to bring positive change to the world, because right now I'm signing up clients for social media services. And what I mean by that is basically like, so Epic, the church that I go to, we're actually working with them right now. And what I've, you know, talked to the Pastor Chris, my homeboy, Chris Lockamy, about is we really need to get your content from the pulpit, from the stage, onto people's phones, because people, that's where people are. They're glued to their phones. And if you're not getting the message outside of the four walls of the church onto people's phones, then you're not hitting your potential. So if you're going to take all this time to prepare this message and you're not figuring out how to get it on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and everywhere else, then you're falling short. So we're working with organizations like Epic, or, you know, could be other organizations of its kind that exist to bring positive change in the world, and you want some help doing this, getting your message out to the world, onto people's phones specifically. I want to talk to you. If you're that person, you can reach out to me. You can send me a message, or you can, again, drop me an email. That, for the most part, is it. I did want to talk about one more thing. So there was a verse that that I was kind of meditating on a few days ago, and it was where Jesus talked about, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, be cast into the sea, and it will be done for you. And it was the day after that I met with Nicole and her dad, and I did a post, and I was talking about you know, all the things that we planned, all the things that we were strategizing, everything from, like I said, CityFam to the book and the tour, Fam Live and the shows and New Year's Eve events, home. And I was sitting there, and the next day, and I read that verse in Daily Light, and I was like, you know, there's things that are happening now to make all those things I mentioned move forward. Things that I have no control over. People You know, people that are like leaving full-time jobs and not making money to work for City Fam or, you know, work for the tour or the book. And I'm just seeing like these mountains move, you know, like things align, and, you know, again, people leaving their jobs and jumping and working for free. And it's like, I really think that verse is literal. Like, you know, I looked it up and I was like, well, you know, what did Jesus mean when he said this? And people say, oh, somebody paraphrased it or whatever. They said, oh, they referred to, oh, I think he was talking about the destruction of the temple, and it wasn't literal. And I'm like, no, I think it was literal. I think if you believe for something so much and you stand on it to the point where you would die, you know, you would risk your life when it happening, like, because that's where I've been, you know, with this vision for the last 15 plus years, you know, specifically home I've had for about 17 years, where every morning when I close my eyes and I visualize, I see it. And I've leveraged and pretty much, you know, not risk, but I put my whole life on the line to the point where I'm like, if it doesn't happen, I'm gonna die trying, you know, like I'm not gonna give up, you know. So I really believe in that verse that it was literal, where he's saying, if you have faith like this, you could tell a mountain, be cast into the sea. Now, I don't think the mountain would have actually lifted up out of the ground and been thrown into the sea. Probably would have happened over time. The plates would have moved underneath the ground, and that mountain would have shifted and slid into the sea. And then the naysayers would have said, oh, well, of course it happened because there was an earthquake or whatever. But you would have known, if you were the person praying for that thing, that it was because of your faith and your prayers. And that's what I'm seeing happen now. Like, I've just stood on these things, and I've, you know, put my life on the line where I'm like, okay, I'll live this way. I'll be sex free. I'll be single. I'll be broke. I'll, you know, stay in this position when everything's not working. And even at times I'm miserable and depressed, because I believe that you're going to show up, and I'll die trying. And I believe that that is the kind of faith that he's talking about. If you have that kind of faith, you could move a mountain. So, I don't know, it's just something I was thinking about and I wanted to share. I don't know if it's helping anybody out there, but that's it. That's my vlog for this week. I'll continue making these and stay consistent. See you guys next week.